Hey guys, welcome to The Great Escape. I'll be back right after this. So first off, today is a shorter episode than normal because my special guest had only 45 minutes. And you know what? This is Hollywood, and that's how it is. But I was glad to have the 45 minutes to speak with Hal Rudnick, a great talent in the world of comedy, both as a writer and as a performer. If his name sounds familiar, that's because he hosts one of the most popular shows on YouTube called Screen Junkies. He's also a regular performer at the Upright Citizens Brigade. And let's just get it out of the way. We're going to call that UCB, right? It's way easier to say, and everyone in LA and everyone in New York calls it UCB. And I'm probably going to talk about it a lot because I love it. Hal teaches sketch comedy writing at UCB, and that's how I know him, because I just wrapped 5 months in a sketch writing program at UCB, and Hal was one of my teachers. I was very impressed with his craftsmanship as a comedy writer, a master technician at the UCB Stylings of Comedy, and he has his own sketch show there called The Midnight Show. He's also appeared in films, TV shows, including Key and Peele, whose writing staff, by the way, is heavily stocked with UCB talent. In fact, you may recall episode 1 of this very podcast is Ian Roberts, one of the original founders of the Upright Citizens Brigade Theatre. UCB sounds like a drug, and you know what? Isn't that what comedy is? So let's tap that vein and get some UCB with comedy writer, performer, improviser, and teacher, Hal Rudnick. Hey, Hal Rudnick.
Natalie, thank you for having me. I found my way through the labyrinth of your apartment complex, and I made it.
Excellent. Well, I'm thrilled that you made it here, and I've been researching you and Googling you.
Oh, well, I just noticed, I know a little bit about you, and I see some of your beautiful art over there.
Oh, thank you.
And, wow, it's a crime against humanity that's not up on the wall.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. And this one, I'll have to put a picture now in the blog, but that's actually a 3D artwork. If you put 3D glasses on, it feels like you can put your hands right into the paint. Yeah, it will drive anybody to want to do drugs, that painting.
Oh, yeah, completely psychedelic.
So, yeah, I literally don't have a place to put these giant paintings, so they're sitting next to an inversion table.
Mm-hmm. I have an inversion table.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I have a bad disc. That's what we're here. This is lumbar talk.
It's secretly an infomercial.
Yes.
But you're not going to be
experiencing a degenerative disc, a slip disc, lower lumbar trauma? I'll use it every, at least once a week or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to stretch it out.
Did someone tell you that you needed surgery at some point?
No, but the possibility was raised because I have something called degenerative disc disease.
Okay.
We're getting really personal about my medical history right off the bat. Yep, I went right there. So it's like my discs are, a couple of them at least, are slowly crumbling away. But you know what? I stretch like a madman. I spend more of the day stretching than I do not stretching.
Wow.
Like right here, do you see my posture?
You have fantastic posture.
My lumbar, like I'm sitting on this chair.
You almost have breasts. You have such incredible posture. Your chest is right out there. You don't, but you would carry them so well.
I have pectoral muscles, not breasts. So I don't paint a picture of a shabby physique.
He has, you're in super shape.
I'm in decent shape.
Do you run?
Not as much as I go through phases, but I eat right and I do push-ups.
Yeah, no, you do look really fit. I noticed when I first met you over at UCB,
Sure.
You look like somebody who takes exercise and gives it a high priority in your life.
I eat pretty healthy. That's the main thing. But diet is so important.
Have you got any actual diet regimen? Like, are you a vegetarian?
No. I eat what I want when I want, but my default mode is salads.
Okay.
Just tons of salad.
Okay.
Like, 5 days a week, my big meal of the day will include some kind of like chopped chicken or salmon salad.
That's great.
Yeah. But hey, I had McDonald's at 2 a.m. This past weekend, so I'll do that too.
Yeah, I remember meeting a guy who was like a mini Mr. Olympia, and he owned his own nutrition shop. And he said there's a certain number of days, and I always wish I could remember the exact one, but it's something like 26 days. And he said it's very good for your body if you eat something junky every 26 days.
Wow.
It was somewhere in that vicinity. And he said it literally does a reset on your body so that your body stays on its toes of dealing with new things.
Well, I'll do it every 2 to 6 days. Eat something horrific for me. But but I'm pretty disciplined because my back is pretty wonky. I have to stay fit. I can't carry around like all the extra pounds and put all the stress on it. I have to kind of keep a strong core and stay slim to feel just to feel better. And you know what? I maintenance it properly, and it knock on wood, it doesn't bother me too much.
Good, excellent. Well, where do we start with you after all of the neat and fun and facts I've dug up? One of the things that I thought was really interesting was the thing that you did with, do you say Shia LaBeouf or Shia LaBeouf?
I'm an ugly American, so I say Shia LaBeouf. I should have asked him when I was face to face, but he probably would not have answered it, as he did not answer any of my other questions when I invaded his art exhibit.
I heard he had plagiarized somebody and he felt guilt, and that's why he did this apologies, I'm sorry art exhibit. Is that the gist of it?
Yes, he plagiarized, I believe it was Daniel Clothes, who was a graphic novelist. Really inventive, kind of a large figure in the indie comics and graphic novel world. And Shia LaBeouf made a short film that was inspired, or I'm not sure how strongly based on one of Daniel Clowes' graphic novels or comics. And he was called out, and he had not given any credit to where he'd gotten it from. And he published an apology, and the apology was also plagiarized. And then he began receiving so much flack, and there was just a real hate campaign against Shia LaBeouf. And so he did this art exhibit where people could come in, and it's called I Am Sorry, where he had a bag over his head, said, I am not famous anymore. And the subtext or the main context of the art exhibit was him apologizing. But then some point out that the art exhibit is inspired by a performance artist, a famous performance artist who put on an exhibit where anyone could come and do anything to her, and she just sat there. So I went into this exhibit with a hidden camera on a pair of glasses and sat face to face and just asked Shia LaBeouf to apologize if he's sorry for Transformers and the terrible Indiana Jones film, and and just asked him why we were here. But he remained silent the entire time, and that was basically what he did for this exhibit. It was surreal. It was absolutely surreal.
Yeah, and there were lineups of people, weren't there? To
hours.
Just get
we
in.
waited several hours.
Good grief.
And I heard some people waited for, a long time without even getting in.
Wow.
People who got there a little bit later in the day, perhaps. But you know what? I've turned the corner on Shia a little bit. I like some of his choices. I like that it's kind of idiosyncratic, odd video of him trying to inspire people. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's pretty good. It's a video of him giving a motivational speech. And
that was really written by.
Oh, yeah. X, Y, or Z authors. But it's him just like screaming at the camera, telling people to do it. Don't wait until tomorrow. Do it. And that was a lot of fun. And then also, I don't know if you've seen any of his, the music video he did with Sia.
No,
oh, okay.
I haven't.
Are you familiar with Sia?
No.
Okay. She has a a number of popular songs right now. And early this year, he was in one of her videos. So those are some cool choices. I don't know. He really is an individual. Like he's kind of making some interesting choices right now. But I got a lot of hate for that Shia LaBeouf video.
Did you?
A lot of internet hate. A lot of people called me, can I curse here?
Yes.
A piece of shit, and got really angry with me. Said, like, what kind of human being am I to go into to talk to him that way? Like, he opened it up. I don't know what he was asking for. Going in there, like, what, expect us to come in and kiss his ring or something?
And he had a bag over his head as well, didn't he?
Yeah, I took the bag off.
I wonder if you were the only person.
No, I absolutely wasn't. I know that. And like hundreds of people saw him. Did you hear that he was raped?
No, I did not.
That's what he's claiming. Like someone forced a sex act upon him.
What?
And he just sat there.
During his exhibit?
Yes.
Oh my God.
During this exhibit. So.
Well, I mean, surely there was some sort of security monitoring.
Yes, but it was in the next room. This was a closed area. You were in an enclosed area with him.
Good grief.
Yeah.
Is all I can say to that.
Yeah. But no, that you can look that up, that he claims that that happened.
Wow, that just takes art installation to a whole new level.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah. I mean, what is art, Natalie?
What is art?
Let's not answer that question today.
It involves something to do with expressing mostly horrible things. No, maybe great things as well. Yeah. A lot of art just tends to come out of the need to express horrible things.
Sure. Catharsis.
Yeah, yeah. So what about you and your draw and lure towards comedy? Because you're a gifted performer.
Well, that's very kind of you.
Across the board, writing and performing, you're a phenomenal actor.
Thank you. Wow, that's really nice. Well, I think as many in the performance arts or in the arts, much of it is due to a dysfunctional upbringing. My father was a real character, and I feel being around him pushed me towards entertainment. And he was loosely on the periphery of entertainment. He was a concert promoter, concert producer.
Okay.
Growing up, he produced a series of concerts called 40s in the 80s, where he took stars from the 40s and 50s and brought them back to sing in the 80s. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with Mel Torme and Vic Damone.
Yeah.
Patti Page, these folks. But being around that, and he gave me an education in old movies growing up as well. And he was just a natural character, very larger than life. I think being around him naturally pushed me to want to be funny in the same way that he was kind of funny. Except, I feel like I hopefully don't make fun of others for my amusement as much.
He would he humiliate you
a little bit, or just like want to like poke me or play a trick on me or something. It's kind of mean-spirited.
Like a physical poke?
Oh, yeah. Like you know how you get poked in the side?
Yeah.
Or like poked in the ribs? He would do that all the time while we were driving. Now I'm I'm very ticklish in a bad way. He gave me tickle trauma.
A complex.
Yeah. Like I did this show at UCB where I had to get carried off the stage, and my friend kept tickling me as every time we did the show, he would tickle me, and I would flip out because I hate being tickled. Thanks to my dad.
Wow. Is your dad still with us?
No, he passed a few years ago, but we were in a good place. We knew where we stood in each other's lives. Good. And, he passed with no unfinished business, and we knew that we loved each other, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, we can all be so lucky to have that.
Yeah.
Which is probably quite a rarity. And so there's a bit of dysfunction, being made fun of, learning that muscle.
And my parents argued a lot, and there was a lot of yelling and growing up. So
brothers and sisters?
I grew up more or less as an only child, but I do have 5 half brothers and sisters, all at least 10 years older than me.
Okay.
So who I'm fairly close with most of them now, but I grew up mostly without them.
Do those 5 all share the same parents?
No, 3 sisters with whom I share mom, and 2 brothers with whom were from the same dad.
So it's a mix.
Yeah.
Quite the mix.
A mix.
Yeah. And so it sounds like then, because they were 10 years older than you were often the youngest one. Like Chelsea Handler was the youngest. They develop a funny bone to stand out in the family. Was it like that for you?
A little bit, but that was part of it, maybe to get noticed when I was little. But I think part of it was to just amuse myself, because I spent like most of it. I was an only child. Starting around 4 or 5, I grew up alone in the house without any brothers or sisters, because they were all off in high school, college, or living with other folks or what have you. I feel like to amuse myself, and like while my parents were yelling at each other or whatever, trying to take myself off into La La Land.
Yeah.
Pretend, or playing with my toys or so on and so forth, and creating weird scenarios. But it was instilled in me very young to
what were your main toys that you would
G.I. Joe figures? Okay. Just a red-blooded American kid creating war scenarios with G.I. Joe and Cobra, and comic books and video games. Mainly action figures and Matchbox cars and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you're like a guy, I would say.
I mean, I feel like I'm in touch with feminine side, but I mean, I'm I don't know. I'll let you say that.
I mean, you chat. I've heard you get passionate talking about things of a sport.
I enjoy sport.
Yeah.
Yes. I play fantasy sports.
Okay.
Which is it's like Dungeons and Dragons for sports, for sportos. I feel like everyone should have a bit of. There's nothing wrong with having a bit of masculinity.
Sure.
Masculinity and femininity.
Yeah, it's the yin and yang.
Human picture. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So when did the comedy more officially start to kick in?
I wrote my first comedy sketch when I was in literally 3rd grade. And then when I was in Boy Scouts, that's, all about camping and getting merit badges and hiking and canoe trips and starting fires without matches and learning how to tie knots. But my favorite part of it was doing the campfires and writing songs and skits for the campfires. You know what I mean when I say campfires?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you sounds like you were doing your own little variety shows. Kind of thing. Yeah.
That was like a big start, and I had a couple of friends, and we did these songs that got really popular, but they were a little too dirty. We got admonished a couple of times. And then from there, in high school, I was in plays, and I started performing stand-up comedy, and I got elected student council president of my high school. My campaign was basically a comedy routine.
Okay.
I had a lot of lists hung up around the school, the top 10 reasons to vote for Hal.
Okay.
And they were all very silly.
Okay.
They were all very ridiculous.
Do you remember any of them?
As I was saying it, I knew you'd ask me.
That's okay.
Played goalie for the Vancouver Canucks NHL hockey team during the 1986-87 season. Or will make sure every day in the cafeteria has tater tots a go-go. Or just weird stuff like he Xeroxes his private parts. And believe me, in high school, it was really
be comedy
stuff.
Gold. Yeah.
Yes.
So you're already gaining notoriety as somebody skilled with comedy. Now, were you in California? Are you born in
New Jersey.
New Jersey. Okay.
Yes, the great state of New Jersey.
Okay. And when did you come out here?
After college, so I went to Penn State. I was a film major with a theater minor. Film and video major, and came out to California after that.
What was your plan in college? Were you going to be a director or movie maker?
Actor and screenwriter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Pretty much how it's panned out?
More or less, but I feel there's so much unexpected. You're not, nothing could ever prepare you for diving in and doing it, and the different hats that you have to wear, and just the highs and lows, and the rigors of diving into the making a career out here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm lucky enough to still be on my feet. So
yeah. What was the experience when you first came here? I mean, what was positive and what was kind of a shocker for you?
Well, when I first got here, I just had a number of weird jobs on the periphery. I was an entertainer at children's birthday parties, and then I also did extra work. Extra work helped me to become a member of the Screen Actors Guild. But doing extra work is vexing because you are so close yet so far.
Yeah.
You are right there. You can literally, like, you can touch Jennifer Aniston. But, well, you get tased if you do. But you could touch Jennifer Aniston. But you are a million miles from, like, being where you want career-wise. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because I'm a fan of, such a big fan of comedy and of people like Judd Apatow, I deliberately was an extra one day on his film Funny People at the Hollywood Improv, just to get to experience life on set of a Judd Apatow movie.
Yeah.
And it was awesome, you know, listening to him behind the curtain directing Adam Sandler. But I know exactly what you mean. And then when it's cut, you're shuffled off to this room. How long were you in stand-up? And are you
I still do stand-up, not as much, but so I've been doing it off and on for years.
Okay.
Actually, 2 years ago, I set my mind to, you know what? I want to put together an act. I find to do stand-up well, you need to fall on your face and bushwhack your way through the garbage, go to dark little hole-in-the-wall, just shitty open mics, and put in the man hours. It's like you're not going to compete in a race unless you go to the gym and go to the track to work out. So for a real performance, you have to put in the time writing and then getting up and testing that material. And I did that for a while, and like I was really happy with the results. And now I feel like I have a base of material that I can perform regularly. I haven't been performing as much lately, but I had some really fun gigs, and I opened for some really funny people. And
who'd you open for?
This woman, Laura House, she's fantastic. She's a writer and comedian. And and then I hosted a show with Paul F. Tompkins and Nick Kroll. And
is that fun, working with those guys?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a little bit more pressure because, like, you want to, you want
to be funny.
Yeah, you want to put your best foot forward if, like, you're around people who are A-listers comedy-wise. Now I have, like, if I was called upon to do 10, 15 minutes of stand-up or a show or as a showcase, I could do it. I feel like I put in the work and kind of created that avenue for myself.
Do you feel that that's the main reason for you to have stand-up as one of your tools, is so that you can do a showcase? Or do you have plans to go on the road and be doing an hour and a half of
I don't
material?
have plans to go on the road, but I want to use it to express myself. No, it's so it's not just for the showcase element. It's to have it as a form of creative and just a way to be funny.
Yeah.
And it's great because you don't have to rely on anyone else. It's just, you can get up there and just throw it against the wall yourself.
Yeah. That's why I got into stand-up initially. I had an improv troupe in Toronto after I went through the Second City ranks. But I was aware when I came to California of, if I do that again, people's schedules are quite a nightmare because everybody here is auditioning. And I thought, I can't subject myself to that right now, where I could put all this effort in and booking a show. And I always wore a producer hat and would be the one to book the show and get the gig, and then have somebody go, I've got an audition or a commercial I'm doing. And so very casually got into stand-up, and I just took to it.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I loved it.
What do you like to talk about?
I talk about everything that's wrong, basically about me, and I try and dig as deep as possible. I don't think I have much pride or shame in what I talk about. I'll talk about being really sensitive, and I've been to like a doctor to say, is there something wrong with me? Like, I will cry if I see an ad with an animal behind bars. I'm shot for the day.
Yeah. I remember we talked about that in class a little bit.
The doctor, when I went to see him, and I was like, there must be something wrong with me. Nobody can suffer this much in life and be so sensitive that these things hurt. And he said, no, you're just an artist. And that was my big revelatory diagnosis.
Yeah,
keep painting and keep doing what you're doing.
Good. Yeah. It's important to observe and to feel.
Yeah, well, that's what I talk about. You asked.
Good.
That's what I talk about.
That's great.
It's all that deep, dark stuff. And I also love with stand-up comedy, you're not subject to the ageism that you are in everything else, writing and acting. But stand-up, my gosh, as we had with Joan Rivers, and I've done stand-up shows with someone who was 96.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a woman, 96-year-old, and still going
How'd she
out
do?
and do it. She did great.
Wow.
Yeah, she did great.
I saw Don Rickles earlier this year. Yeah. You know Don Rickles?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And he was 89. And he was still very sharp. He riffed with audience members. He was really with it, and still just a little bit too racist. But he's from another era, and you kind of give him a pass on that. But he was very funny, and if I could be, close to that by the time I hit his age.
Yeah, we can all just hope and aspire to that sort of living legacy. You mentioned about, that he was perhaps a little bit too racist. And one of the things that, is that your phone?
No.
Well, that's weird. I don't know what that beep was.
Oh.
Mystery beep. Not to worry. I may or may not cut out this mystery beep element of the podcast. But being exposed to you and how you work and write, it stuck out to me in the writing class that you have a very heightened awareness of what is currently politically correct. And I noticed one day in class you get quite upset, where I really thought, wow, he's really getting passionate about this. And it was somebody had made a reference in a comedy sketch using the word that in England we will say for a cigarette.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And they had used the word fag in a sketch. You really got on that and were like, there's no room now. This has to change at some point.
There are a few things that I've grown to be more aware of. In the past, I was a dumb kid once. I didn't know any better. Raunchy, edgy, twisted shit still makes me laugh, like as hard as anything. But when you have an insensitivity and you lack awareness as to what is hurtful and what is a damaging word or a damaging comment, then I don't want comedy to hurt people. And some people are going to get offended, but perpetuating stereotypes about race, sexual orientation, women, sexuality. I am also I've become really attuned to when guys will throw around the words like bitch or slut or whore. Guys do that a little too much in their sketch. And those are powerful words. And those words create people's images of women and perpetuate notions. And I feel like you need to realize those are powerful words and understand that the impact that they have. I don't think those are forbidden words per se, but they should not be used lightly.
Right, absolutely.
So, and then also, in regards to, racial issues as well, I feel at the end of the day, if we have a choice, let's help the cause of humanity rather than harm it.
Right. What was your take when, I don't know if you know, Amy Schumer got into a little bit of hot water for a joke that I believe she actually made years ago in her comedy career about dating Mexicans. Latinos. Only now she prefers consensual.
Yeah.
Which is a funny joke. But I guess people are.
I think it's funny, and I've heard her talk about it, and she says she likes to kind of assume the character of an idiot who says idiotic things. So there's a fine line there. I feel like that's right on the line.
Like if she was in your class and wrote that joke, what would you say?
That's a great question. I'd probably take pause and tell her that some people will find that joke very hurtful, or some people will be offended by that joke. Yeah, that's right on the line. But I would say something about it in class because there's a time and a place as well. I feel like the way she does that joke, it's not a thing that she believes. Yeah. And she's not putting it forward as this is truth.
Right.
Like this group of people is bad because of this.
Right.
I feel like it's such a flippant joke.
It's just a well-crafted joke for a joke's sake.
Yeah. So I feel like even though it is edgy and it will and has offended people, I think the place it's coming from is non-hurtful, but it is on the line. And in a classroom setting, I'm extra aware because I'm trying to create best practices and I'm trying to work with individuals who are not veterans of comedy. Like if I was in a writer's room, I'd treat that different than in a classroom. In a classroom, I'm working with people, encouraging them to put their best foot forward writing-wise and showing them where the line is.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And then it's their choice. As long as they have an awareness of the line, they can decide if they're that kind of comic or writer that's going to cross the line.
But it would absolutely be my job as a teacher to shine a spotlight on something like that.
Yeah, it definitely stood out to me. I don't think I've actually seen anybody as passionate as you just on that topic of political correctness and having an awareness and sensitivity about it. So I was quite impressed.
Thanks. And I feel like, have you seen the Midnight Show or...
Your midnight show is too late for me, Hal.
That's okay. But I feel like I'm happy with the job I do of addressing issues of equality and feminism and so on and so forth, but also being like raw and fucking crazy in a lot of the stuff I do. So you are very successful and have a great reputation as a sketch writer and performer. So how is this in priorities and importance in your life and your dreams of what you hope to accomplish? Is the master plan to be like on a Key and Peele type show? I have been on Key and Peele. I know you have. You played a stage manager, right? Yeah, and I'm going to be on it again this season. Excellent. I meant have your own show like that. Yes. Well, right now, that absolutely. And because you do multiple things. Yeah, so. I have 2 shows that I'm developing right now. And, I've had shows in development before, so we shall see. But yeah, ideally, like I think the master plan or like goal, like on the top of my list of goals, to sell my own show. Right. Okay. And it's a sketch comedy show, or I have one that's a variety show and one that's a sketch comedy show. Variety show. Yeah. So. It's this show I do at UCB called Tournament of Nerds. Because I also enjoy hosting. So I wear a lot of hats. At the end of the day, it's very difficult, and I'm sure you know this because you have a number of disciplines that you are extremely talented and more than proficient in. You have to keep a lot of irons in the fire. Yeah. And you have to chase it like a mad dog because someone will work harder than you. Right. Hard work beats talent. Yeah, I'm all for hard work as well. Effort, I like to always try and replace work with effort because for me, I can only speak for myself. The word work, maybe because of my dad saying that everybody's life should be miserable and they should just do their work, kind of that attitude. I have a very negative connotation of work. So it sounds like your dad was the opposite of my dad. My dad hated work. My dad hated work, but he's only recently retired and still sort of doing a little bit of work. But his whole thing was you shouldn't enjoy your work. That's why they call it work. Oh, and I have such a polar opposite belief that you should enjoy what you're doing with your life. I mean, I think that's just a gift, a blessing to be able to make a living doing something you enjoy. Right. Yeah. So I'm with you. That's something I feel lucky that right now I don't dread how I pay the bills. Right. Do you have any other secret day jobs, or is it all to do with comedy and writing and performing? Teaching and hosting a Screen Junkies show and, acting and writing. Yeah. Yeah. How much of your time does Screen Junkies take? Because that's a massively viral show, isn't it? Yeah. We have 4.5 million YouTube subscribers. That's insane. It's really grown. Yeah. And there's you front and center of it. Yeah, one of the main faces, and I was the first person to be like a face of the channel following the massive hit. The #1 show on the channel is called Honest Trailers. Yes, I've seen those. Yes, so brilliant. Yeah, so I'm lucky to ride their coattails a little bit, but no, I feel like I've really helped give the channel a voice and a face. And now it takes up a couple days a week.
Okay.
Some days more than others. Last week, I spent 2 days in New Orleans doing a set visit for a movie and interviewing people. And then I flew straight to San Diego and spent 4 days interviewing people at Comic-Con.
Oh, great.
Sometimes it's the entire week.
Did you find so many people? Because I would imagine there is a huge demographic for you at Comic-Con.
I am
a rock star.
I'm a celebrity at Comic-Con, yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Absolutely. I mean, there are, you have the cast of Star Wars and Ben Affleck and Harrison Ford and J.J. Abrams and Jennifer Lawrence are all there. So, but in my little world, I am, I took a lot of pictures. People asked me for photographs. And we did a huge panel that filled up a hall with over 1,000 people. That was extremely gratifying to see what we do has an impact on people. And I'm very happy to, I'm so glad that what I'm doing. I mean, as a comedian, sometimes I forget this, but
people are listening.
You want to give joy.
Yeah.
That's the most gratifying thing.
Yeah.
And to have kids come up to me and ask their mom and dad to take a picture of them with me, or just people of all ages wanting to take selfies with me. And that's pretty neat because I feel like, wow, I've improved their day. And people send me messages all the time that wow, I've been sick and I've been watching all of your guys' material and it's really helped get me through this. So that's pretty touching.
You're giving people a little escape.
Yeah. You know what? I can't actually be there to give them a hand job or something. So,
but you would if you could.
You know what?
Because you're that kind of guy.
If their make-a-wish was for me to fly to their hometown and give them a hand job, first of all, I'd have to talk to the Make-A-Wish Foundation for allowing such a thing because that's a little off. But
you wouldn't disappoint, though.
Case-to-case basis.
The escape was the inspiration behind this podcast of just feeling it in my own life, how I love watching comedy.
Yeah.
I swear that part of the reason I even do comedy and am in it is just so I can get into the shows for free, and be a part of it.
Yeah.
Just watching it. I love it so much. I feel the chemistry in my body change when I'm laughing.
Oh, yeah.
Watching movies,
Yeah.
Judd Apatow has brought me so much good chemistry in my body.
Have you seen Trainwreck?
I sure have. Yeah. I went to a screening of it.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. I would say not great. I felt it was a little uneven, but overall, one of Apatow's best in years. I liked Amy Schumer. I thought Tilda Swinton was amazing. She was so funny. Yeah, I enjoyed it. There were I had a couple of issues with it.
What about LeBron James?
He did a great job.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
The guy was phenomenal.
Yeah, he was so down to earth and funny. Yeah. I was really pleasantly surprised by LeBron.
What a natural. I was like, has this guy ever even done any kind of a comedy workshop? Because if not, it's criminal that he can just be this funny.
Right?
He
should come to the UCB and do a show.
Yeah.
The basketball player Blake Griffin on the LA Clippers, he's performed at the UCB before.
Really?
Yeah.
Is he gifted?
He's really personable, and you could tell he does some he's in Kia commercials, and his Kia commercials are pretty funny. So he's got a knack, he's got a personality. Because some athletes are watching paint dry. Peyton Manning's good. He's on SNL all the time. So it's a case-to-case basis. But LeBron was excellent.
If you had to look at somebody's career, I love hearing anything sort of positive and insights. And once I bumped into Edward James Olmos on the set of a movie in Toronto.
I met him at Comic-Con.
Did you?
This past weekend.
This past weekend?
Yeah, Comic-Con weekend.
But I thought he passed away, Edward James Olmos.
No.
Am I horribly wrong?
Yes, you're horribly wrong.
He had passed away.
The Latino actor from Stand and Deliver and
Battlestar
Miami
Galactica.
Vice and Battlestar is alive.
Thank God.
Jesus,
I don't even know why
Natalie.
I thought he passed away. I must have literally dreamt it because I think about him so often because he always said this thing to me on the set. I was standing in for his wife at the time and he said every day you should take your dream out of your pocket and shine it. and do something with your dream, whether it's read a magazine article or write something. And that always stuck with me.
Or flush it down the toilet.
Or recognize that it's crappy and
no,
flush
that's
it down
great.
the toilet.
That's, you have to. That's like, so he's very much alive. And that's a great piece of advice. And I say this when I teach, that for a long time I had, out here in California, I had crappy day jobs, like corporate jobs that were a million miles from my dream. But all the while I was in those classrooms writing and being pushed to learn my craft, and then out performing at night, living a double life. Yeah, that's fantastic advice, Natalie. I wholeheartedly agree with that, because now I'm lucky enough to be living it.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I have to pinch myself and remind myself, because it's easy to get jaded,
Right.
And be like, ugh, I'm not where I want to be at the end. But
you
need to recognize you're on the journey.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That I have achieved something.
Yeah, I'm all about the journey.
Yeah.
Just remind me, I lost my train of thought when I found out Edward James Olmos was live and still with us. So I was rightly distracted. But somebody told me about Arnold Schwarzenegger and how he had this thing that inspired him, a blueprint, he called it, where he looked at someone else's career, what they were doing, I guess with bodybuilding. And he basically just mapped out how to do exactly what that person was doing. And he referred to it as his blueprint. And I think we all, whether it's conscious or subconscious, we find someone whose career is like, oh, they're doing exactly what I would love to do. And I just was curious, because you're multifaceted and you're performing, who would be a blueprint for you, that if you could step into their skin and have that career and pull it off, where it would fit you?
Jason Statham.
Really?
No, I'm kidding. Oh, that's a great question.
I'm so gullible, Hal.
I don't know. Wow.
What about someone like Amy Schumer?
Keegan-Michael Key
Yeah.
Is such... I just interviewed him recently. I've been on his show a couple of times, and just being able to have this successful show and go on to movies like Key and Peele, what they're doing is amazing. Like, they had their own sketch show and it was brilliant and successful. And now it's, now they're going on to make films, and like he got to do the comedy bit of Obama's anger translator at the White House Correspondents' Dinner with President Obama. And he's such a nice person, Keegan-Michael Key, and Jordan Peele for that matter. But those guys, Amy Schumer, she's brilliant stand-up and has one of the sharpest sketch comedy shows in existence. And now she's moving on to that realm of
hers is pretty. It's pretty films. Perfect.
Yeah,
her blueprint.
It's pretty perfect. So why not shoot for the stars? But right now, I just want more of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So keep taking those next steps. Actually, I just want to get to 50,000 Twitter followers.
So you're really
If I could get
deep.
to 50,000.
There's no superficial.
I'm at 35,000 right now. Follow me at Hal Rudnick. We should have said that at the top.
At Hal Rudnick.
Can you edit this and put this at the top and bottom of the podcast?
I'm going to watermark this, and it's going to go in every 60 seconds.
Hal Rudnick, HALRUDNICK. Great, thank you.
At Hal Rudnick. Boop.
Thank you. I admire so many people, and I had so many inspirations growing up in comedy. Just like I said, I'd like to sell a show. I'd like to be a series regular on TV. I'd like to host my own show.
Yeah, you'd be good at a Daniel Tosh type of a show, because you're so quick.
Oh, thank you. David Letterman was my idol growing up, or he really inspired me when I was a very young man. And just being able to keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, what I love
for a long time.
I love this about you is that you have an ongoing gratitude of what's going on in your life right now. I really feel you're somebody who kind of gets it, and you're really enjoying your life and consider yourself lucky to be able to pursue what you want to pursue, and what a bonus that you do make money out of it. But you're not, I feel like you're not living your life in the future of, oh, if only I could be doing this.
Yeah, I know people like that, and I've seen people like that. Even people who had, so much good in their lives, they still live like that. And it's like, oh, well, that's not living. At the same time, I have to strike a balance between, I have to remember to live with gratitude, but also chase my career and my dreams like a mad dog.
Well, no one else will.
No, they won't.
Yeah, I know.
Do you know who goes out in the midday sun?
Mad dogs and Englishmen.
Correct.
We really do as well. I've got like skin pigmentation for all those days out in the midday sun. And I know you have to go, and I don't want to cause you stress of being late somewhere.
Sure. But this has been, man, it's flown by.
It has flown by. Well, maybe you'll come back again and I can stow the parrot again.
Sure. Or, you know what? Keep them chirping in the background. Either way.
She's so smart, though.
What's
the
her
bird.
name?
Well, it is a girl, but I owned the bird for about 17 years before I knew it was a girl. Fortunately, the name is Sam.
Okay.
And it's an African grey parrot.
A unisex name.
It's a unisex name. So sometimes I call her Samuel and sometimes I call her Samantha because I'm like all for transgender.
You know what? Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah, exactly.
Courage Award winner.
Yeah.
No, and they're actually... that's another issue I've become like that so much more sensitive to and aware of, and just
that's another
equality for all.
Equality for all.
You know what? That's something I stand for.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing to stand for. Hal Rudnick, I know you have to go and I don't want to stress you out. So thank you so much for taking time out, and maybe we'll chat again in the future.
Oh, this has been great.
Excellent.
Thanks, Nat.
Thank you. Hal
Bye-bye.
Rudnick at Hal Rudnick. Beep. Okay, there we go. So thank you so much for taking time out, and maybe we'll chat again in the future.
Oh, this has been great.
Excellent.
Thanks, Nat.
Thank you. Edward James almost lives. I looked online and I wasn't alone in my fortunately incorrect assumption. Over 1 million people liked a Facebook page announcing his passing. A hoax. Turns out it's a thing. It's called an internet death hoax. Ridiculous, crazy, an internet death hoax. How mad is that? You have way too much time on your hands. If you have time to make up that someone is dead. And I'll tell you this, you let those years go by, you don't have to pretend. It gets real. So don't be making up that people are dying. Spend your time on better things, like adding fuel to the rumor that Michael Jackson's still alive. Keep it positive. What about Hal? Cool guy, huh? When I write Hal Rudnick's name, my Apple predictive text changes it to Hal Redneck. No joke. That is irony at its finest, right? Like I'm typing notes, wants equality for everyone. Hal Redneck. Follow Hal on Twitter. See, I kept my word, at Hal Rudnick. And me, while you're at it, go for it. At that Natalie Gray. And no, it wasn't like that Natalie Gray. It was just that someone else had Natalie Gray. Because you know what? There's a million Natalie Grays in entertainment. I'm not kidding. There's plain and simple a million Natalie Grays. There's one that's a famous Highland dancer. And one time I signed up for Highland dancing lessons because I was not attuned to the cool activities of popular girls. So I show up to Highland dancing, and my name's Natalie Gray, and they're all excited. They're starstruck because they think I'm her, the super whiz, famous Highland dancer. And then we started Highland dancing, and I proceed to enact what it would look like if you tried to kick yourself to death. I am not gifted in the techniques of Highland dancing. For me, it was renamed maniacal kicking. That was a disappointed bunch of people. Yeah, a lot of Natalie Grays around, and that's why my Twitter is that Natalie Gray, because I had to think of something, and the Natalie Gray sounds really grotesquely pretentious. But that Natalie Gray sounds like I could just be notorious for making poor life choices. Oh, that Natalie Gray, the one who at age 18 tried to meet boys by signing up for Highland dancing. at a senior center. That Natalie Gray. Please visit thegrayescape.com for pictures, show notes, cool stuff, including clips of me interviewing people like Will Smith when I was a teenager and he was a teenager. I'm not kidding. Thegrayescape.com. Check it out. Also, please subscribe on iTunes. Go on, subscribe. Then you'll get the episodes as soon as I load them up. We will be connected like a yin and a yang. Get those episodes. So when the kids are at the water cooler saying, name someone famous who's a Highland dancer, you'll know and it'll rock their world. Thanks for joining me. Catch you next time on The Gray Escape.